The Serfs, a left-leaning comedy and political commentary YouTube channel, hosted and moderated debate. Hey, left-leaning. I mean, sure. I'll read 9284. Left-leaning sounds like center-left. You know, sounds like he's a good old lib sock dem at the best of hit piece, fucking hit piece. I'm gonna start with the hit piece. The hit piece. Everyone's like, wait, that's not a hit piece. Matthew Gault is great. He can be great, but this is goddamn hit piece. I'll explain to you why it's a hit piece. They never used my good quotes, okay? Vice reached out to me. They reached out to me for quotes, and they asked me, how are the competitors preparing for this? And everyone's already heard this already, but I said that Destiny is debating 10 men named Richard, and Richard Wolff is running naked backwards while the Rocky music plays. Never made it into the article. So, by definition, hit piece. Also, this headline achieves nothing. Could not disagree further from this headline. Here's the thing, and I know that you're probably tapped in, Matthew Gault, but for the average person, and a lot of people were very, very angry about this, why would Richard Wolff ever do this? Why would he ever entertain debating an online internet personality? And that got me really upset, because I was like, that is so short-sighted. Like, ultimately, what is your goal? Is your goal to keep ideas like leftist theory and socialism, communism, the dialectical, all these things to yourself? Or should that just be the realm of academia, that only academics are allowed to speak about it? Like, fuck no. Fuck no, your idea, and the part of, like, my vision is you're supposed to reach as many people as possible, win in the hearts and the minds of the public. That's how things effectively change. Like, you've got the majority of both Canadians and Americans in this deep mindset that the idea of democracy in the workplace would either be a disaster or it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, we have to have these hierarchies. We have to, because some people are just predisposed to be better at a job and all that. And I'm not saying that there aren't certain people who are not going to be able to accomplish things that others are not. I'll never be as good of a basketball player as Michael Jordan. And even within worker cooperatives, like Mondragon, by the way, there are hierarchies that are set up, but they are justified, as in the people who work within those jobs have the ability every year to vote and outvote people who are on their board of directors. So people have to justify why they are in those positions. It's almost very anarchist in a way, right? Like, it's not an unjust hierarchy. If you were saying, hey, by the way, I've done very well for the company, I get paid a little bit more, usually 8 times more than the average worker, but at the same time, I've done that. Do you like it, workers? And if the workers are like, no, you've done shit all, boom, you're gone. You're not allowed to keep doing that. So you have democracy in the workplace where someone else can come in and they can either fuck it up or not. Will these companies be perfect? No, we're human beings. There's no such thing as a perfect system, right? But we should be looking towards the things that work in one category and applying those to others. That's usually how I live my life in this. Yeah. Anyways, let's read it. Twitch streamer and philosophically gadfly Stephen Destiny Bonnell II spent 90 minutes of his day on Wednesday debating the merits of capitalism and socialism with noted economist Richard Wolff. 35 minutes into the debate, quote, and the pair were arguing over the basic definitions of capitalism and socialism, economic systems whose relative merits and performance they were supposed to compare. It was not how either party had said they wanted the conversation to go. Fair enough. It was also a clear picture of the state of the online-led political conversation. One side stalls the conversation to demand strict definitions, and gaming personalities soak up too much time and attention. Oof, wow. People throw around the socialism label so much, no one really knows what it means or what it stands for, but I'll told Waypoint in an email ahead of the debate. I wish people would stop obsessing over these labels and just advocate for data-driven policies to push forward rather than advocating for these massive changes. That is the definition of what Richard Wolff does. That is the definition of, like, his work. He is consistently trying to push for data-driven policies that are going to be more effective in the workplace. Not just from a moral standpoint, by the way, because I think morally, ethically, if we live in a society in which we prefer democracy, right? Everyone here is for democracy. You enjoy one vote, one person. We don't live in a tyrannical or an authoritarian. We live in kind of a plutocracy, to be fair. But anyways, you like the idea of it, even if it doesn't exist in principle, and even though those with capital seem to have a lot more influence in politics than the average person. So yes, there's a fucked up problem there. But anyways, you like the idea in principle, as do I, right? That's one of the fundamental parts of liberalism that I seem to agree with. I like democracy. And Richard Wolff advocates for expanding that to the workplace, where we spend the majority of our days. Like, what does everyone spend all day doing? 8 hours a day, every single day in, day out, unless you get Sundays off, hopefully. Or if you're part of the app economy, you're consistently using apps all day, all night to work. You can work 24/7 if you need to, right? if you spend your entire day there, why do we have dictatorships? Because that's in essence what they are. Every single job is a dictatorship. And in the US, your healthcare is associated with that dictatorship as well, right? You may or may not have healthcare based on the whims of your employer. If your employer fires you for a certain reason. If your employer fires you for reasons outside of your workplace, which is a big topic right now, this whole cancel culture thing. What happens if I get fired for something I've done outside of work? All of this, right? Rather than people voting me out from their job or the workplace. He was demanding the definitions because he wanted to poke holes. Yeah, I think that's, like, there is definitely a criticism of online debates just as a medium of being, like, let's get down. Like, so many of them do end up in just, like, semantic circles, endless semantic circles. I would like that to change. Yet the bulk of the first hour of the debate was about defining socialism and capitalism. The pair went back and forth, both often heated. Wolff is old school and a college professor. His style was conciliate, sometimes condescending. It was often condescending, if I'm being totally fair. And he sounded like a lecture. Destiny is used to debating on the internet, where talking fast and fussing about specifics throws off an opponent. It was a weird pairing. Yeah, maybe that is fair. Destiny uploaded a video of the talk to YouTube with the title, "You Are Just Wrong." Richard Wolff debate gets heated. The Serfs, a left-leaning comedy and political commentary YouTube channel, hosted a moderated debate. Left-leaning. I mean, sure. I'll read 9284. Left-leaning sounds like center-left, you know? Sounds like, you know, he's a good old lib sock dem at the best of hit piece. Fucking hit piece. I told you this was a hit piece. Fucking hit piece right here. All right? I've been hit. I literally lean to the left sometimes, I guess. God damn. It's going to be a 3-minute opening statements followed by 50 minutes of open debate, then 30 minutes of audience Q&A, and then finally closing remarks. The Surf told Motherboard, I fucking knew I shouldn't have given them any real answers. They didn't use any of my silly ones. So many good silly answers, you know? Like, they asked questions like, why Destiny? Why Richard Wolff? And I was like, these questions are too existential for me to answer in this format. We must answer, you know, the deeper questions in life and things like that. I want that to be in the Vice article. Destiny will be defending capitalism as a prevalent economic system, and Richard Wolff will be defending blah, blah, blah. All right. Wolff spent the most of the time speaking during the open debate, spending a great length of time discussing his points and attempting to fact-check Destiny in real time. I find this a laughable caricature of anything I've ever written or anything I understand as part of the conversation, Wolff said during the debate. Destiny argued that socialism has a history of famine and abuses in countries like the Soviet Union and China. Wolff countered by saying Destiny had an outdated view of modern socialism to trade in the old and shrinking conceptions of socialism. Maybe a good debating ploy, but it doesn't advance our understanding of everything. Also, like, this is such an old-timey, the big black book of communism scare tactic when talking about this. Like, yes, there was monstrously huge famines in both situations, but you can also acknowledge the enormous amount of people that were uplifted out of poverty through that. It's like anything else. If you're going to do massive industrialization, and like in China, the case of the Great Leap Forward under Mao Zedong, right? It turns out agrarian farmers aren't that great at becoming metallurgists just like that. Like, you can't do the same application that you would to, say, the USSR. Like, hey, I like what Stalin and Lenin pulled off, so let's just do that exact same thing here. Let's turn all these millions of agrarian farmers into metallurgists. And surprise, surprise, this will happen at a time when we do have historical famines, but that action in itself will create the conditions that led to the largest famine in human history. No question about that. But I have a really hard time when people bring that up, of saying, and that's why communism is evil and will fail in all places. Like, that was not the works of Engels or Marx or any other theorist, you know. That was Mao. That was the policies of Mao. Same thing with the Holodomor. Like, I think whether it was intentional or unintentional, the actions of the Stalin regime resulted in a massive starvation of Ukrainian people, millions and millions, right? That is not debated. What is debated is whether or not he was doing it intentional, and if he was, whether that constitutes genocide. But there's no question that happened. That was super fucked up. There's no questions that there was gulags. Like, they existed. Fucking internment centers with torture and work. Horrifying things. Those existed. Is that communism? Is that the work of Marx and Engels? Marx and Engels have a chapter where it's like, you must implement gulags. You need worker camps. You need torture centers. You need all your political enemies and dissidents to be locked up. It's like, show me that, please. That's Stalinism. What you're criticizing here is Stalinism. That's why I think people who get bogged down in the whole team sports of this, right? And I'm sorry, like, that a lot of people on the internet who consider themselves leftists do this too. If you get bogged down in the USSR good, USA bad, or USA good, USSR bad, rather than doing what Richard Wolff tries to do, which is like, let's look at the parts of their economic policy and systems that were effective, that were democratic, that were fair, and in neither case do I see an example of workers controlling the means of their own production. I don't see it in the USSR. I don't see it in China. Those are state-owned corporations. I don't see that in the USA. You know, I don't see examples of this. This is why I want to refine this argument and reduce it down to this. Destiny claimed that Wolff didn't like Marx. I'm very glad that you're acknowledging Marx was an absolute fraud and an absolute failure, he said. You're making this stuff up. Like this is why I thought this was meme central, because this is a debate tactic, right? Like this is a Destiny debate tactic, which he'll reframe things as in like, well, I'm glad to know that you completely agree with me and then blah, 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 right? Either one of two ways. This is either going to infuriate his opponent, or it's going to throw them off like what they're speaking about, to the point where all of a sudden they look rattled, and it's a good gotcha. It's a very good gotcha. But at the same time, to a professor, again, if a student said that to a professor, that's how they're going to respond, right? You're making this stuff up, Wolff said, interrupting Destiny. I've never acknowledged anything of the sort. I don't even know where you get this. It's a rich, diverse tradition. It's as if you're going to decide what it is I mean to say, and then when I say these things, I never said that Marx's theory isn't valuable, that the labor theory of value doesn't apply. If you read any of the books and articles I pumped out in my life, you'd know the exact opposite is the case, right? Which is exactly what I'd expect. Someone like Richard Wolff to respond to that too. This seems acting like the natural in college class disagreeing with everything the teacher says. It's called straw man argument. Yeah. Is it not part of the cost that the USSR or China had to pay for their growth? Is that not part of the cost that the USSR or China had to pay for their growth? Well, I mean, that is a very dark way of looking at it, that there was no way to achieve the good things they achieved without mass millions of people starving. I would disagree with that. No, I don't think the Holodomor was necessary. I don't think it was a necessary part of Soviet growth. Like I think it was a vast failure on the part of the Stalinist regime. Like, no question about that. As did I think the millions of people who died under the Great Leap Forward. Like I think you can look at the things that China achieved, especially the economic boon that happened to China once they opened up their economy to the global economy, for example. You can look at those achievements and that rapid growth and that rapid uplifting of people out of poverty and say, hey, there was certain policies done under Chinese socialism, you know, socialism with Chinese characteristics, whatever they want to call it, that the Communist Party did in order to uplift a lot of the most impoverished and millions of the poorest Chinese. That happened, you know, with a lot of other factors and vectors. That wasn't like it was the Great Leap Forward that did that. No, the Great Leap Forward fortunately resulted in the largest starvation in human history. Throughout the debate, Destiny groaned loudly and twisted around in his chair. He put his hands on his face and rolled his eyes. The Twitch chat rolled along, arbitrarily scoring the debate and getting excited when their participants seemed to get mad. One of Destiny's biggest peeves was Wolff's use of history. So why I think this article is short-sighted, by the way, is that it's looking at this, I mean, I'm guessing he only watched Destiny's stream and that's it. So he's looking at this as if, like, you know, the people who watch Destiny, the people who like Destiny, like, were looking for easy dunks, cheap thrills, and they weren't getting the kind of dunks and cheap thrills that they were, or when they did get them, they were very happy. So in me, this was pointless, utterly pointless. And that's so short-sighted. Because that was one of, like, you know, maybe like 50 streamers who have watched and rewatched this live, who have rebroadcast this live. Of the 40,000 people who were watching it, right? There's so many new people who have never been exposed to these kind of ideas that are now all of a sudden like, whoa, that is very interesting. I'd never thought of that before. So you want to increase democracy. You're actually looking to increase, like, that's how I usually pitch this to people on the internet, because the internet is all about fast one-liners, fine. Like, I want to increase your freedoms. I want to increase democracy. I want to take it just from the realm of politics into the workplace. I want you all to have democracy in the workforce. And then I usually get pushback along the lines of, what, so burger flippers are allowed to do the same thing as CEOs? Is that what you're saying? First off, don't disparage burger flipping. Okay, I have worked in many a restaurant before. I've been a dishwasher. Yes, I've washed dishes. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, when you wash dishes in the back of the house, you get to listen to music the whole time, and that was a splendid thing. Not that washing dishes was fun. I didn't enjoy it particularly, but hey, it still happened. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. Do you regret the PS5 question? No, I do not at all. That was a brilliant question. It's just the height of intellectual thinking. One of Destiny's biggest peeves was Wolff's use of history to explain socialism and capitalism. You've told me a bunch of things that capitalism isn't. You've given me a bunch of random collected facts of history, Destiny said after Wolff had given him what he felt was an unsatisfactory definition of capitalism. Why would you talk about the history of it? That's not relevant, he said, asking Wolff why he refused to call the modern American Democratic Party a socialist party. Why don't you just let me respond without coaching me how to do it, Wolff said. It was frustrating to watch because even after 90 minutes, it felt like there was never a conversation, much less a debate. Destiny and Wolff come from different backgrounds and performance styles, so they couldn't discuss the topic. Wolff wanted to lecture and incorrect perceived inaccuracies in Destiny's presentation, Destiny seemed to want to score points and win the conversation. This does raise the question, why is this happening at all? Why is a Twitch streamer debating economics about big economic ideas of our age? Destiny is a politically active game streamer who describes himself as a liberal, though his political effect is more of an edgelord libertarian. He trolls far-right personalities and has weathered a number of controversies around his political views in the defense of his use of racial slurs. His personal website contains a section that outlines his thoughts on political and philosophical issues, from the use of political violence to thought experiments about incest and child pornography. YouTubers, Twitch streamers, influencers, and other social media stars are a big part of the future of mainstream culture. They exist in a space beyond politics and entertainment. They're mixing these things together and changing their culture. Hassan Piker, another gamer and Twitch streamer, had the best coverage on election night. Carl, no. Hit piece has hit me again. I had the best coverage of election night and of the Capitol insurrection. All right, I was jumping all over the internet, multiple screens, multiple feeds. I had every angle. I had Chelsea goddamn Manning on election night, telling us everything that was going to happen. She gave us the entire future. She precogged the future of the week that live on stream. All right, it was unbelievable. She predicted everything that went down, like almost to a state level. Like when everyone was flipping out, even myself, I was like, holy shit, could Trump actually steal this? I remember Chelsea Manning was like, no, here's why this is going to happen. Here's why this is going to happen. Look at this numbers. Trust me. As of tomorrow, this governor will declare this. This governor will declare this. And like fucking mathematical accuracy. It's funny. She was so good in that and then so bad in Among Us. I don't know how. Maybe one of the biggest falls of grace I've ever seen. Chelsea Manning. Just like completely predicting the election in every way, shape, or form, and then not knowing when anyone was sus. Not knowing when a single one of us was sus. You know? God damn. YouTubers, Twitch streamers, influence, blah, blah, blah. Online culture is dominating real life culture. It's where most of the contentious political debates, and it's given rise to a new generation of influencers who will shape the culture of the future. Wolff knows this. It's why he showed up in the first place. Destiny has cultivated a large audience, likes to hear his thoughts on politics. Well, hey, not just that. Like, I knew this was going to get outside interest. I didn't know it was going to break the internet. Like, I didn't know there was going to be like 40,000 people watching it live and everyone on Twitter just giving their thoughts. The problem is that when he laments the way people throw around the socialism label without knowing what it means, he's describing himself and the archetypal style of online debates he practices. His debates showcase how instinctively he throws labels around and how frustrated he gets when someone tries to pin him down on meaning. His audience and platform mean that someone like Wolff feels he should have to go have his conversation with Destiny, but his misfiring 90-minute exchange also shows why it can never be a good conversation. This is where I gotta strongly disagree with you. Like, a lot of the points and the ideas that Wolff has, he was able to say them to a brand new audience that he wouldn't have had exposure to otherwise. I don't think he was mislabeled, misconstrued. I don't think Richard Wolff left that in any way like hurt. Like, Destiny's fans and Destiny himself and Destiny's like entire crew are obviously going to see anything Destiny sees most of the time as like a net win, and or they're going to find holes in it to poke in, even if they feel that Destiny didn't perform as well as he could have, right? So that's why this has been reduced to that he didn't have enough speaking time, that Richard Wolff spent too much time talking about feudalism, all those kind of things. And that's just what's going to, the same thing applies to me, by the way. Like, people who are going to defend me are going to be like, well, you may not have won that debate, Lance, but at the same time, if we run down everything that happened here, you could have been stronger at this point, you could have been stronger at that point, something could have been done. That's just the way these things are going to work themselves out. This was the thrust of Wolff's own closing remarks, where he acknowledged the fact that the debate might have been more telling than anything they said during it. The yearning to do better than we're doing in US capitalism, that's already a fact. It's now only a question of where it will go, he said during his closing statement. The very fact that this conversation is happening and the very fact that someone like me was invited to participate is a sign where things are going. Yes, I 100% agree with Richard Wolff there. I agree. Like, 2 decades ago, there wouldn't have been discussions of this nature in whatever was the equivalent. Like, I don't know what the equivalent of what Twitch streamers do now would have been a thing back then, but you wouldn't have seen Richard Wolff debating this on like The Daily Show or The Colbert Report or whatever you want to call it. Okay, maybe that's Illusions of Grandeur, where Twitch isn't that big yet. Well, fuck, Hassan's that big. Hassan's that huge. He can qualify. He's practically like a TV personality. But yeah, we wouldn't be discussing socialism versus capitalism, the merits of both systems. We wouldn't be throwing those two things together. That wouldn't be the discussion, you know? You should have paid tuition for that. All in all, I'm quite disappointed in this article. Quite disappointed. But for the very reason that they did not print any of the best parts. They did not print my best parts. So there's that, you know? That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. They should have done My Best Parts about the whole thing. At least he credited you as a comedian. True. That's true. A left-leaning comedy and political commentary YouTube channel. That's true. But left-leaning? The fuck? Left-leaning. You should try to moderate MTG versus AOC. Okay, what is the details? When is that happening? Now I need to see. I know I have that one tweet. AOC and Marjorie. Yeah, I'll moderate the shit out of this one. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene claims Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has agreed to debate her on the economic policy behind the Green New Deal. Greene made an announcement on Twitter Wednesday, posting a photo of her speaking to Ocasio-Cortez on the House floor with the message, "I'm glad I ran into you today, AOC, to plan our debate about the Green New Deal." And now our photo, Greene and AOC can be seen talking about their masks in the center of the floor, though the two are actually discussing is not known. After I finish reading all 14 pages like we agreed, I'll schedule the time for our debate. There's a Republican added to the caption alongside hashtag. Greene returned to work Thursday to face off with her Democratic colleague, writing on Twitter, "I read your 14-page Communist Manifesto before saying that she was looking forward to debate." Hey, do you like movies? Do you like Serfs? Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs the cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, you know, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like, just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our gods, I'm Raft and Xander Corvus. We shall build golden idols in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker. Our soft, spongy flesh is yours to command. To our lords, Evan Nudie, Trevor R., Alexander Thaler, Ryan Lubin, Bisexual Black Gamer, Toefox, and Jeffrey Lamb, we proudly carry your sigils onto the battlefield. And to our Knights of the Round Table, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Timothy Hart, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophagic, Saren 42, Chronic to Hemphog, Kelly Kotka, The Great Pudini, Von Janney, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Encosin, J. Fraser Cartwright, Jimmy Bignuts, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Nicholas Marks, Jopi, Josh Mickelson, Melissa Murphy, Todd Buckingham, Todd LaJeunesse, and Constance Joyce Lacheris. We tip our cap and lift our mug and salute you.